So the Ripple versus SEC case is over. Sort of. What possible actions could be next for both Ripple and the SEC? Will they appeal? That is a very important question because if they appeal, there's a small chance they can get the ruling overturned on appeal, but it has a lot of consequences if the SEC fails in their appeal. And obviously consequences as well if Ripple fails in their appeal. But the reason the SEC would want to actually appeal is because this does set a precedent, and because just as importantly, the Coinbase lawsuit is in the exact same district as the Ripple lawsuit. And unless they actually file an appeal and win, there's almost no chance, I think, that they will actually win against Coinbase in saying that others cryptos on the secondary market are securities. There's a reason that pretty much all these alts pump today, and there's a reason why John Deaton said this is a big victory for Coinbase, because he knows that like the judge in the Coinbase case is going to look at the XRP case. And if we're being honest, the judge in the XRP case looked at the LBRY case, kind of like for where things actually fell. If you look at her ruling, she ruled that primary sales of securities to institutions are securities, just like the LBRY judge did, but secondary sales are not included in that bracket, and that the coins themselves do not constitute securities, which is kind of like the same ruling the LBRY case did. So the thing is, like, these judges do actually draw from each other. So the SEC could possibly appeal, because if they don't appeal, it's pretty much written in stone that they're going to lose all the other cases as well. It's not really going to be much of a case-by-case thing, especially if it's like in the same district. They're going to lose the Coinbase case, and then pretty much like nothing on the secondary market will be securities, which would hamper their power. And the ruling is a little weird. I don't remember any other securities ruling where like it's a security if you sell it to one type of people, and it's a security if you don't. It's not a security if you don't sell it to another type of person. So it's a little bit kind of kooky for this kind of ruling. I agree with the ruling, but it is a little bit weird. So the SEC might want to get it overturned on appeal. However, there's a big risk for them, because if they appeal and they lose, that sets a hard precedent. If you go up to the appeals court and you lose, that sets a hard precedent for the other circuit courts as well, and they stand even a less chance of winning. And let's be honest, the judges in these lawsuits have not really been favoring the SEC. They're not very impressed with the evidence and the arguments that the SEC is presenting. And with this lawsuit, you can just throw out all this cabal, like all the judges are bought by the cabal and they all work for the cabal, because they obviously don't. The ruling on this lawsuit and smaller rulings on other lawsuits like the ETF and stuff basically show you that the judges aren't really working for the cabal, or if there is even a cabal or whatever. They're not really part of that. They actually do make these rulings based on if they think it follows the law or not. That's why Ripple was able to mostly win this case. And the thing is, even if they win at the appeals level, Ripple can then appeal again up to the Supreme Court. And with the composition of the Supreme Court being 6-3 conservative right now, I don't think that favors the SEC, and I don't think that's going to favor Gary Gensler for as long as he's in office. So he might want to think about that. He could drag it out a couple more years, but ultimately he will lose. And if he brings it up to the appeals level or the Supreme Court level, the SEC is going to lose all power in this. So there is a big risk for Gary Gensler to actually take. Now, would Ripple actually appeal this lawsuit? There's a good reason why Ripple would actually appeal the lawsuit, and it's because of the primary sales. I think like if you actually read the thing, like I was a little bit wrong like this afternoon. I think the Brad and Chris XRP stuff is actually going to go to trial, but that doesn't really affect the rest of us. What would actually affect the XRP investors and maybe Ripple as a company is the fact that if you actually read Judge Torres' ruling, she actually lumped ODL into institutional sales. So you wouldn't actually be able to give institutions or give companies XRP to incentivize them to actually use ODL or for ODL purposes. And that could really hinder Ripple and ODL adoption worldwide or in the United States or whatever, So they might actually want to appeal from that. Now, obviously, I don't think they have much to lose if Ripple actually appeals, because if they lose, that just kind of means it's the same for other coins as well. and sets a precedent that you can't actually like just use these coins to fund your company, which is kind of the same thing right now, except it would be throughout all the districts and not just with like the Southern District of New York. So I do think there's a high chance that Ripple will appeal to see if it can get overturned. I don't think that appeal will work, just like I don't think the SEC's appeals will work, because appealing these kind of cases generally does not work. So I think things are going to kind of stay as they are. And I think like Ripple at least will actually appeal the part that they lost, but the SEC might actually have some things to think about. It might be a little too early to actually celebrate, but I don't think it's that early, and I don't know if the SEC will appeal, even though a lot of people think that they actually will. But they have to keep in mind that even if they win at the appellate level, they're probably going to lose at the Supreme Court level. And that'll be a much stronger precedent. And plus, Congress could actually get rules out before this, so they might just be waiting for that as well. So let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button. Thank you, and have a nice day.